Hey, what's going on, Caleb? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. So, for those of you that do not know, as I mentioned in my intro, Caleb is a guy that I go to college with. He's a Jets fan, and we do weekly radio together. So, I'm excited to get you on to talk about your Jets. So, before we get started, tell the audience why you became a Jets fan.
Well, I was born in Germany. My dad was in the service. About 2008, we moved back to the United States. I was introduced to football around that time, and I really started getting into the NFL around 2009, 2010. And around that time, the Jets were going to back-to-back AFC Championship games. They had LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Holmes, Darrell Revis. Those teams were stacked, and it was just so much fun to watch those. And then since then, it's been just large disappointment.
Got it. I understand that. So let's just get into how the Jets season went this past year. The Jets go 7-9 this past year. Obviously big additions in the offseason, Le'Veon Bell and CJ Mosley. Those were some of the key additions. Le'Veon Bell did not have the greatest season. CJ Mosley obviously got hurt, so those were disappointments. And look, I didn't expect the Jets to make the playoffs. I felt that they were just a team that was kind of up and coming a little bit. Obviously, Sam Darnold gets mono. The team is unwatchable when he was not playing. And, when he comes back, the team actually looks like a real football team. You get some big wins versus the Cowboys. The Raiders actually were playing pretty well. Then you guys, destroyed them at home. You beat the Giants. But then there were some stinkers in there, 31-0 versus the Patriots. And I gotta be honest with you, Caleb, Adam Gase kind of looked bad in some of these games as the head coach. So, look, I don't think that Jets fans should be disappointed about their season simply because Darnold had the mono. And I don't think that even a realistic Jets fan believed the team was probably going to make the playoffs. Maybe you did. You could, dispute me on that. But that's just my thoughts. So kind of talk about how the season went this past year.
Well, there was a lot of high hopes heading into the season. Sam Darnold going his second year. Adam Gase was brought in because he was supposed to be this quote-unquote offensive guru. But never really came. Those never became true. It seems like the first game of the season, the Jets were up 16-0 against the Bills. DJ Mosley gets hurt, and then the Bills win 17-16, and then that started the downhill climb from there, or fall from there. Sam Darnold got mono, like you said, and the Jets' offense just became anemic. There was nothing there. Most of their points came off of defense and special teams around the Luke Falk times, and it was just bad football. And Luke Falk was a guy that Adam Gase, that was supposed to be his backup. And I've watched backups all over the NFL this past season succeed at least once or twice. And when you have an offensive guru, supposedly like Adam Gase, you hope that the offense will be able to put some points on the board with the backup quarterback, and they never did that. And then Sam Darnold finally came back from mono, had a good game against the Cowboys. Things started looking great from there. But that was some stinkers, like you said. The Jets became the first team in NFL history to lose to two teams that were 0-7 and worse in the same season. They handed the Dolphins their first win and the Bengals their first win this year. That was disappointing and embarrassing as a Jets fan. And the end of the season off 6-2. But you look at those games, they were against the Giants, the Redskins, Raiders were alright. Their Week 17 game was a victory over the Bills JV team. There's not much to be proud of at this point. We just expected a lot more. And honestly, Week 7 and 9 kind of seems disappointing, especially when you think of the strength of schedule that the Jets had. The Jets had one of the easiest schedules in the NFL and couldn't capitalize. Even though Sam Darnold had mono, there was still time to capitalize, and they just never did. Adam Gase has, since becoming head coach of the Dolphins, his offenses have plummeted. Ever since leaving Peyton Manning, actually, if you think about it, he's had, the last few years, 29, 30, 31, 32, like in that order. Like, it keeps progressively getting worse in total offense. So, Jets fans are really disappointed with Gase right now. I have a shirt that says "Fire Adam Gase," if you remember that.
I do remember that. I remember that.
And if you look at a lot of the success that they had at the tail end of the season, it wasn't really the offense. It was really Greg Williams and that defense who showed that even though you're missing a lot of pieces, you can still win. The Jets had a top 10 ranked defense, even though they were missing C.J. Mosley and their other next two linebackers. They lost Avery Williamson and Blake Cashman, who were their 1, 2, and 3 middle linebackers. Their corners were atrocious. Tremaine Johnson was awful and should never gotten the big contract that he did. Darryl Roberts is a mediocre backup. He should not be starting. But they were still able to get a top 10 defense. And that's another thing that's irritating for Jets fans is you have a guy on one end of football who is able to adapt and able to show that, yes, we're hurt. Yes, we may not have the best players, but we still perform very well. Where on the other side of the football, there was a lot of blame, or a lot of excuses, I should say. The offensive line was bad. The offensive line was bad, but it was also coached very poorly. You could see times where the offensive line would just stand up and not know who to block. It's not like they were just letting guys through and not blocking very well a lot of the time. They just didn't know their assignments. So that's on coaching. And then the scheme and the lack of adjustment throughout the game. The first drives for a lot of these games were very good. They were very good on the script. And then they go off the script and they have to learn how to actually be a coordinator and call plays on the fly, and they just couldn't do it. So this upcoming season, it's got to be make or break for Adam Gase, who made no adjustments to his coaching staff that ranked 32 in total offense. Sam Darnold still does not have a quarterback coach, which is very disappointing. And his offensive coordinator is his best friend. That they were in Chicago together. It was just 7-9 looks good on paper, but when you watch the season and why they're 7-9, it's just still disappointing.
Gotcha. You make a lot of good points, and I agree with a lot of things you said. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.